Hello everyone, it is Savvy here, and in today's video, I will be doing the highly requested editing tutorial. I have had many requests for this since I started AGIG, and I felt it was a really good idea. Although, instead of just making it a simple video, I think it would make a great series. So today's episode will be about portraits. So let's get started. To do this tutorial, you will be needing two apps, PicsArt and Lightroom Mobile. I'm currently in Lightroom Mobile, which is a free app, although it does have a paid subscription, although none of those features will be used in today's video. Now for a slight roadmap for how I edit. When it comes to Lightroom, I will edit in two layers, one focusing on the background and one focusing on my doll. So when I go to PicsArt, I will blend them together. I'm starting on my background. Since it is clearly overexposed, and I would like to get the colors shining through, I turned down the highlights, although I turned the whites up slightly so it's not too obvious. It's always fun to experiment to get that ideal look you're trying to achieve. This is all in the lighting section, so as you can see I turned the highlights all the way down and the whites over halfway up. Now for the color, I do really want it to be vibrant since these are very, very unique colors. As you can see, my doll looks very strange, and that will be completely fixed within my next two edits. Again, I am changing the tones in my colors so they stand out a little bit more. Now I'm raising the clarity to put an emphasis on my bokeh. Again, you can tell that Sydney is still becoming quite an unusual looking doll. Now I'm simply saving this image to my camera roll. Now I'll be starting the image in which I edit based on how I want my doll to look. So as you can see, I'm using the exact same image I used in the beginning of my first Lightroom edit. This is completely raw. So I start by turning up the exposure since it's clearly underexposed towards her. I like to add the highlights to elude some natural lighting since it was kind of taken in a shaded area. And now I do want to turn up the dehazing a bit because it will just make her look a little more sharp in general, along with the clarity. It's always fine to just go back and keep messing around with different settings. Now, one of my favorite things to do is noise reduction. So as you can see, there are little fuzzy spots on my doll. I turn that up until it looks completely smooth, although you do not want it turned up too much to where it takes away detail. If there is any detail lost, I typically go back to my clarity setting and will turn that up a tiny bit. Now for my color, I am slightly turning up the luminance and saturation of different colors. Colors such as red and orange typically affect the color of the doll's skin. I also like to illuminate the doll's eye color, which I will also be doing some more eye editing in PicsArt. Now for some last minute things, and I saved the image to my camera roll just as I did before. I am now in PicsArt, and I do apologize that this is filmed in a vertical style. It does look very unprofessional, but this is the only way it will allow me to screen record. So again, I do apologize, but it does get the point across. Now doing some simple lighting adjustments because whenever you transfer your photo to a different app, it might not look the ideal way that you thought it would. So this is the photo in which I focused on editing my doll. So now I'm clicking the add photo option and putting the photo in which I focused on editing my background. I extended it so it's exactly the same size. And I took my eraser tool now and erased that part of the photo to show my doll from the first layer. You do need to take your time when doing this so it doesn't look edited. Oh yeah, also I did make her outfit, so I might do some sewing tutorials soon too. Her overalls are very old, but I did just make the sweater. It's going around, every little detail really does count. And now I'm clicking the accept button and going to my tools bar and clicking selection. This is what I was talking about, the eye adjustment in one of my Lightroom edits. I zoom in and I take my paintbrush and I go around the eye. I typically do not do the whites. I just do the iris and pupil. And I do it to the other one so they are highlighted red. And I click adjust. So there I typically turn the highlights up all the way. And I also turn up the contrast, slightly dehaze them. It's a little bit with brightness and hue if their eyes are green. So there. Now we have an optional last step in which I add a lens flare. I think I did mess up in this part, so you may see it go back to that screen multiple times. I typically like to adjust it in a darker area so it looks like some light is shining through. But you don't want it to look too edited or obvious. So as you can see, I did take that one off because I did not like my placement. You could adjust the opacity of this, and I think I had mine up a bit too high. I picked the exact same version. Whoops. Again, I'm putting it in that same corner, but I didn't want the brightest part to be shown. That little center point. And I turn down the opacity. And you can also mess around with the blending. So I think I'm going to go back to my basic editing, in which I mess with the brightness and contrast a bit. I did turn on the highlights a bit because I felt her face was a bit overexposed, but that's just kind of a stylistic choice. And yeah, there's just some little things that you can do to form your own style. Because no one's editing is alike and no two photos are alike, so the way you edit might be completely different when it comes to your amounts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like. I hope that this was informative and that you may have learned something from it. Please subscribe for more videos in this series. Bye!